Hey, we're back with another money guy, man. Y'all claim y'all like to make money. Well, I got the guy here for you. He's here for wholesaling. He talks about how to start in the real estate business with little to no money. He also talks about some of his selling skills and how those skills translate to real life. Go check him out. He has some very, very good stuff. Love y'all.
What is up, everyone? We are looking for one individual to come join our team.
You're probably stuck on a deal right.
Has anyone made you an offer?
Welcome back to another episode of Important Miscellaneous Talks. I'm your host, Glasper Crossfield, and we are changing the world one podcast at a time. Our wonderful guest, please introduce yourself.
Yeah, what's going on, guys? Max Jimenez.
Explain what you do for the people who don't know.
I mean, I invest in real estate, all throughout the country. Our main market here is in Arizona, but we do buy deals nationwide.
Gotcha. So what's the best way to get into real estate?
I got into real estate, I want to say about 7 years ago. And one of the easiest way, or simpler way, right? It's not easy because anytime that you do business, it's wholesaling real estate, right? And the reason why you want to start wholesaling real estate, because it requires little, I don't want to say zero capital, but little to minimal capital. Mostly you can do deals by relationship. And basically what wholesaling is that you're getting the property under contract, and then you're assigning that contract to an actual buyer, and then you get paid a fee in the middle. So that's the simplest way to get into real estate. And obviously you start to grow from there, and you start to go into other realms of real estate.
Mm.
What made you want to get into real estate? And
Oh, you're foggy. Your audio is foggy.
huh?
Yeah, repeat yourself, please.
No, I was asking, like, what made you want to get into real estate? Is it a passion that you always had, or just something that you acquired like later on?
Yeah, so that's a good question. It's like everybody, right? We all want to be entrepreneurs, or not all, sorry. A lot of us that want to be entrepreneurs, the biggest challenge that we have is we don't know what that vehicle is, right? Before real estate, I didn't, I tried a lot of businesses. I tried yard selling. I would buy product, buy wholesale, go out and yard sell. I tried opening my own business. I tried many things. Sales has always been a passion of mine. And the reason why real estate is because I had a friend of mine that was doing real estate, flipping homes, and I saw the freedom that he got from, that came out of that doing real estate. And but my idea was like, you got to have money, you got to have, like everything, it requires capital. And I happened to run into an article in 2015 that talked about wholesaling, and I just made up my mind, like, this is the vehicle, right? This is my way to get into the game, and this is and I'm going to take it and run with it. And I just chose it as my vehicle, and I put the passion behind it, right? And I put the drive, for sure.
So can you please again define wholesaling and
Sure.
the best way people can get into it?
Yeah. So wholesaling real estate, what it is basically, it involves a lot of marketing. You can get deals through relationships, right? And what it is that you find a homeowner that's in a distressed situation. Now, those distressed situations could be somebody that's in foreclosure. These are the most common ones. Someone that's in foreclosure, somebody that inherited a property, right? Let's say that, and maybe they don't want to have two properties because they don't want to pay two property taxes. Maybe a property that's been vacant for over X amount of time, right? So what you do is you reach out to these homeowners, and because of the situation, right, the stress that's happening, they're typically are more lenient to sell at a discount. So basically, what that means is that if the property's selling for 100,000, in the market, let's say listing with the real estate agent, what happens is that they're not going to be able to sell that property for that amount because it's going to either require repairs, right? Because it hasn't been, it could require repairs. Maybe they want to just close really quick. Maybe they want to, choose their own closing day. They don't want to show the property to anybody. So then we come in as an investor, and we use the strategy wholesaling. We'll make them an offer, right? So if the property is worth 100, we make them an offer at 50,000 or 60,000 or 70,000. We get a significant discount. Now I'm going to go to Prince, and I'm going to say, Prince, I have a deal. The deal's worth 100,000. I have it for 60. He doesn't know that I'm going to sell it to him for 65, right? I'm not selling the property, but I'm going to get the contract because now I have the rights. I have equitable title to that property, and I'm going to flip that paper to Prince for $5,000. You see what I'm saying? So, and then Prince is going to close on it. He's going to fix it up and potentially sell it for 110. Right? I don't know, whatever the market is calls for once he is done doing the repairs. It's almost like day trading houses, basically arbitrage. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that word or not. And that's a really easy way to get into real estate. And all it requires is like a 2 to 3 page contract.
Got you. Okay, so you can get into that space with little to no money,
Yeah,
or
drive down your street. Drive down your street and look at the house that sticks out like a sore thumb. Excuse me. Yeah, sore thumb. And you're like, what's going on with this house? Like, and you can either get off, knock on the door, talk to your neighbor, right? And say, hey, do you know what's going on with that property? Because I'm interested in, I might be potentially interested in buying, clean up the neighborhood. And you don't need, then that's zero marketing dollars there, right? So that's why I said it's very minimal, maybe sometimes even zero. I mean, my first deal, I spent zero on marketing, right? It was through a relationship. I got a condo through where my wife worked, one of her coworkers. She had, the condo was vacant for 2 years, and it was trash because they took it all apart because they thought they were going to rehab it and sell it, fix it up, and they never did. They left it like that.
what about credit? Does credit have to be in good standing?
No, no. You don't need, so here's the thing with wholesaling is you don't need credit, you don't need cash, and you don't need basically what is the other thing? You just need to have a good network. That's it, right? You gotta have a good buyer's list. You got to network with people that are already potentially established. So that way, you don't just want to get it under contract. You want to complete the transaction and get paid, right? Getting under contract is technically the easier part, but definitely don't need any credit or cash.
What are some of the good?
What are some of the misconceptions that people have about real estate?
Misconceptions?
Yeah, misconceptions?
You mean like the average person, general population? Like, yeah. Obviously when because it all comes down to, are you solving somebody's problem, right? Most times they look at investors as, somebody that's profiting from a situation where, like taking advantage, right? You're taking advantage of people. You're buying a property at a very low margin. And what happens is you fix that property up and you're selling at a very high margin. So a lot of people think that, that's wrong. As far as the investment side, real estate in general is very broad. Like we could sit here all day, right, and look at all of the different, facets of real estate. But as far as the investment side, people look at it as, it's a what is it called? A business where, it's all for profit. And when you actually get into it, you're actually helping a lot of people. If you look at our website, we have we have a lot of Google reviews from people we help, because if I wasn't doing what I was doing and knowing what I know now, if my aunt, my mom, my grandma, whoever was going through a situation, I have people who have told me, some investors have said, like, if I knew a wholesaler when I was going through my bankruptcy, when I lost my house, I would have sold my house to a wholesaler. But for the most part, I think our business does give a bad, because of the profitability, right? You can make quite a bit of money in our business. So you know how it is. When it comes to the general population, they don't think, the mindset is not there to look at it as you're actually providing a solution for your neighborhood. Yeah.
What are some of the biggest mistakes that people make when doing real estate?
Yeah, there's a couple of things. I mean, the first one is getting over leverage. I mean, that's really a big one. So what I mean by that is that as you move in your career and as you move up into as you move up and you scale your business, you can scale too fast, right? Sometimes scaling too fast can actually put you behind, and you can shut your business down. That's a huge mistake that I see. It's a thing where you have to And then the other thing, there's so many shiny objects because real estate is so broad, right? Like wholesaling is just one facet. You got, buy and holds, you have commercial, you have all these things, and staying focused to not get distracted by all the shiny objects. That's a huge mistake that I see. And the biggest one that I see is people fall in love with the end result and not the process, right? Where they see the end result, they see they see what you're already, what somebody that's taken 5-10 years to accomplish. They fall in love with that, but they don't fall in love with the process of what happened between year one to get to that year, to that 5th year or that 10th year when they get that success.
So when it comes to real estate, like you said, is very broad. Which would you say is more lucrative in a sense of, you can Airbnb a property, or you can get a fixer upper, or you could be a homeowner and rent to tenants? Like which are all those lucrative, or is one more than the?
That's a good question, actually, man. I love that question because they're all pretty lucrative, right? And the thing is that you always have to analyze where you are in your business, because if you want to be, and what is it that you want for yourself? What vision do you have for yourself, right? Do you want to be a transactional investor? When what that means is that, do you want to be somebody that just goes from one fix and flip to another, from one fix and flip, right? Like, where's the next deal? Where's the next? Or do you want to be a passive investor where you do buy rentals, right? I just want to buy, 10, I want to buy, 5 rentals a year or whatever, including an Airbnb, like you mentioned. And I just want to sit back and I want to have that cash flow come in. I don't want to deal with, repairs and all that stuff. So it all depends what you want at the end of the day, right? I know Airbnbs are crushing it right now. I mean, I know people who have a lot of Airbnbs, and it's very lucrative if you can do it right, and you buy the right property, right location. You can make a lot of money. But again, it just depends where you are in your business. We do every single one of those. We wholesale, we fix and flip, rentals, and we have the infrastructure for it as well, right? But it's all a matter of what you want. There's really no right or wrong answer on that part.
So when it comes to that, what are your thoughts on having a property management? Because I know some owners or some people that are into real estate, they rather do everything themselves and hire this and fix that, or have property manager set and they get a percentage.
Yeah. For me, and again, this goes back to depending where you are, right, in your career. I know a guy here in Phoenix that owns 150 single family homes and he manages himself, right? Which is crazy to me. I wouldn't do that. There's no way that I would do that. I would be having a property manager, but he likes going every single month, door to door, picking up a check. I mean, that's what he loves doing. But for me personally, I would definitely start with getting a property management. I just don't see myself like managing them myself. I'm not that structured. I'm not that organized. I'm always on the go, and I'm always on the move, and I just wouldn't have time. But for somebody like him who likes that, it's good for him. I just wouldn't. But again, it all depends. It's very subjective, honestly, on that one.
Okay.
If you can go back and start over, what is the number one thing that you would do in real estate?
Oh man, network. It's very true, right? A lot of us hear that, right? Your network is your net worth, and a lot of times we don't understand like how powerful that is, right? It sounds great and it looks good on a post on Instagram, but when you actually do it, it's very powerful. And I didn't do that very well when I first started. And now that I've been doing this for as long as I've been doing it, that's really what's launched and slingshot my career. It's not by myself. It's not networking. Just in the last year and a half, we've been able to, triple our business just from networking different masterminds and talking to different people. And it took me a long time to learn that. And, if I had to redo it again, and that's what I would do is network as fast as possible. And, as much as I could, be at every event, be at every, reaching out, touching people. Proximity, man, is powerful.
So, yeah. Well, I guess you answered it, because I was going to say, when it comes to networking, where are the best places, or what are the best places? So I would assume things like conventions or things of that sort.
Yeah. Those are good. You get a general sense of the bigger picture, right? And then what you want to do is you want to figure out, go a little bit smaller so you can actually be more intimate. What is it called? The workshops as well. Smaller venues, smaller meetups. If you go to meetup.com, you'll be able to find a lot of these meetups. So they're a lot smaller. So you're able to, again, proximity is very powerful. The larger events are great for educational purposes, and you could meet people. I'm not saying you can't, but the smaller meetups, the smaller network workshops, that's where you're going to meet somebody that's going to help you slingshot your career, because it's more intimate. You get to ask questions, spend a lot more time with people.
Got you. What are some of your best selling tactics?
Nice. There we go. Now we're going where I love. So as far as tactics, I mean, for me, I'm all about, my number one thing is that, I like to do what we call establish the rules, right? And basically what establishing the rules is, you guys, I don't know if you guys played sports, but when I played baseball, right, when I was younger, there's a thing that the umpires would do. They would meet in the middle of the plate, right, at home plate. And the reason why they would do that is because all parks are different, right? None of the baseball parks, anywhere you play, right, whether it's football field, what they do is they meet and they say, hey, if this hits here, that we're going to call that a home run. If this happens here, we're going to call that a base hit. Same thing, right? If you see that this guy gets tackled this way, let's all agree that that's going to be a foul. And so they're establishing the rules to the game. So that's one of the tactics that I like using when I'm talking to sellers, is I'm letting the seller know, like, I ask them, like, do you mind if I share with you a little bit how we work? And then I'll establish the rules with them and let them know, like, in order for me to find out, like, in order for me to find out this is a house that I'm going to buy, I'm going to have to ask you a few questions. Some may be even personal. Is that okay? So I started to get permission to ask them questions. I let them know that I don't buy every single house. I let them know, like, hey, at the end of this call or at the end of this appointment, I tell them as well that it's going to be either a yes or a no, right? I'm letting them know and I'm establishing the rules of how the appointment's going to go. That's one strategy, one tactic that we use. It works really well. The second one is basically figuring out who the decision makers are, right? A way to do that is not to use the word decision makers. A lot of times what happens is, I mean, what other industry uses the word decision makers more than others is sales. So the last thing you want to come across as is an individual that's sounding like a regular salesperson. So we just ask questions like, hey, who else has input? Who else has veto power? Who else do you take advice from? Your brother, your sister? Is there a pastor that you talk to? Is there maybe an attorney that you confide in, right, when you're making a transaction that we need to talk to? Because you guys, I don't know if you fellas are married, but somebody asked me, like, who's the decision maker? Why make the decisions, right? Mostly the guys always say that. and what happens is you find out later that you have a wife or you have somebody else that's in place. So those are two big tactics that we use, to make sure that, we're establishing the rules and we're making sure that we're talking to all the parties involved, especially when it comes to buying real estate, man. They only do that maybe once or twice in a lifetime.
Are you from Phoenix?
Mm-hmm.
Are you a Diamondbacks fan?
I am, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I'm a big Mets fan.
Are you? Nice.
Yeah, we just
I see you got the Laker Kobe in the back, man.
Yeah, I'm a Lakers fan as well. I'm from New York. This is the only other out of town team that I like. Oh, legendary. That's dope.
Yeah. So my sales coach is actually, he's a big Lakers fan, and I got a Kobe's I have his here, let me show you real quick. I printed this out. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it's one of the Kobe's quote. So what I'm gonna do is hang that up and put that under that. So greatness has a cost. Yeah. So, but I'm a big Kobe fan. I like Kobe. I like what he did, his work ethic and all that. But Suns fan diehard though.
Yeah. Now you guys are good. Yeah, now you guys are good. Kobe.
Yeah, they're playing good. We'll see. We got to win one more game now.
Yeah.
Sure. I'm sorry. How long have you been a Diamondbacks fan?
I mean, I'm from Arizona, pretty much, technically.
So you were there for all the ups and downs. Okay.
Yeah, I was there when they won the World Series.
Right.
Now it's just they're bad now. Yeah.
Yeah. Real bad.
Yeah.
So what are some of the biggest lessons that you've learned from sales?
Um, you know, I think sales can teach everyone something. You know, there's a book called Sell or Be Sold by Grant Cardone. I'm not a big fan of Grant Cardone, but that book specifically is really, really good. What I like about that book is that what it says is that everything in life is sales. Whether you're trying to convince your significant other to do something for you, whether a parent's trying to convince their son to go to college, whether the son is trying to convince the dad to buy him something, everything is sales in life, right? Now, if you decide to pursue a career in sales, the next thing that it's going to teach you, I mean, what I've learned, because I've been sales training professionally now since 2018. And honestly, the education that I got through my sales training, there's no MBA, there's no bachelor's that can match it, right? Because we learn communication skills, we learn people skills, we learn critical thinking skills. So I mean, man, it's definitely life changing. It exposes you to a lot of things, and it opens up a lot of doors that I don't think any like I said, MBA, bachelor's, master's can match.
What are some of the most important tactics when negotiating?
So I think the first one is don't go to price too soon, right? A
Mm,
lot of people make the mistake to go to price too soon without finding out first, if there's we call it pain, right? Motivation, if you want to call it motivation.
mhm,
We want to find out first if this prospect that I'm talking to, are they a prospect or are they a suspect, right?
mm,
And so the way we do that is we ask them some motivational or some pain questions. Once we figure out that, hey, there's enough motivation here for us to move to the next step, which is finding out the budget, whether it's buying a house or whether it's selling a product or whether it's selling a service, right? You can't just be in front of somebody and sell them a product or a service without knowing what is the motivation, what is the gain, what is the pain that they're buying the product for. The other thing too is that once you do make the sale, right, that we have salespeople have a tendency to, hey, I got the sale, boom, I'm out of here. What we do is we don't actually get out of there. We try to figure out if there's something else that we miss, right? So now that we have the agreement filled, then this is how we do it. This is just an example for you guys. Now that the agreement is signed, what is it? Oh, sorry. Now that the agreement is signed, Prince, what does this agreement mean to you? We want to make sure that you're committed, not only,
mm.
right now, but emotionally and also logically for the future. Because, well, guess what? Because once you leave, there's such a thing called buyer's remorse, right? We all get it. We want to buy those nice shoes. We buy them like, damn, I shouldn't spend that much money. But then what happened? Like, then we're like, we're okay a couple days later. So those are really good. Those are two really good things to try to avoid, is don't jump into price too soon without knowing if this is somebody that you want to discuss price with, right? A negotiation. And then, and once you do jump into negotiations, I love always, my thought is, the person that gives the number first loses. And so you have to figure out a way to get that number out of that person.
Gotcha. Well, what's the most impactful book that you've read? I've seen you have quite the library, so.
Yeah. So when I first started, for mindset, I read Think and Grow Rich. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. That's a really good book that's changed, my mindset. It's a book that I got introduced to. It's a book that I always recommend for people that want to pursue a career in entrepreneurship, just because it helps to understand, like, this things. We have one of our core values is growth mindset, right? So you have to understand, that book helps you understand that whatever you pursue in mind, it's not just about technique. It's not just about the actual vehicle. It has to do 80% of your mindset, right? Whatever you do. So that book is really, really good when it comes to that.
Did you ever have a mentor throughout your journey?
So the first 3 years I didn't. It was all books, audiobooks, webinars, watching YouTube. The three go-to guys when I was, one of the mindset coaches that I had when I first started was Eric Thomas. You guys know Eric Thomas, don't you? The hip hop preacher. Yeah. When he was first starting out, he was my mindset coach, and it was free. free on YouTube. He had the podcast, and I mean that he helped me out tremendously. I mean, you know, I it was nonstop on my playlist. You know, and then as you grow and as you develop and as you're able to afford a, you know, for you to get coach and pay for somebody to coach you, then you have to, you know, because the way I look at it is that it's like playing a video game, right? It's you know, the simplest way I can say Mario Brothers, you start, you know, level 1, it's easy, right? You learn how to jump, you learn how to do this. Level 2 is okay. As you level up and as you go through different levels, it gets a lot harder. What you did in level 1 is not going to work in level 6 or 7.
Mm-hmm.
And the only way to unlock those doors is by hiring someone, a mentor or somebody that's going to help you. But again, I didn't do that till about three and a half years into my career.
Is this the ceiling for you? And if not, what is, like, how far do you want to take, you know, your career? You know, like, what's the ceiling for you?
Man, I don't even feel like I've done anything yet. You know what I mean? It's always and you know, there's also a thing called when you first start out, whether it's business, whether it's this entrepreneurship journey, right? Any business, you always start out with the focus of, I'm in it to make money so I can gain freedom, right? That's really the mentality. As you actually grow, and as you grow not only in your business but personal development, that changes, right? Now money gets out of the picture, and what happens is that now there's purpose, and there's you know, new things come by, and like, man, I can make an impact here, I can make an impact there, whatever the case may be, right? And so for me right now, that's where I'm at. Like, money right now is irrelevant. And I don't mean that in a way like I have all the money in the world. That's not what I'm trying to say. It's just to keep score. That's really what it is now. There's a bigger purpose, right? And that bigger purpose is now, because I am, you know, obviously I was born in Mexico, and most of my family, you know, are from Mexico. So I'm actually first generation entrepreneurship that broke the rat race and got out of, you know, got into financial freedom. So my job now, my focus now is to make sure that those, including my son and my daughter, that they don't actually go through what I went through, and now they're going to understand and leave that legacy for them. So now you move from money to purpose and then legacy. And you know, and that gets, you know, right now I'm going into that legacy phase. I'm not there yet. I'm moving in purpose right now. But it's just hard to tell, man. Like, when is the end? I don't know. I couldn't answer that question, right? I feel if, as long as I'm in my purpose and it's aligning with my morals and it's aligning with my core values, I mean, I'm good. I mean, I'm sleeping at night.
What are some of the best cities to get started in real estate?
What city are you guys in?
I'm in New York.
You're in New York. Where are you, Prince?
Texas, Austin.
Austin's a really good market. New York's a little tougher, but I know there's a guy out there that's wholesaling in New York. Austin's a little bit, you know, look, your price range is a little on the lower end than New York, but Austin's a really good market. Dallas Fort Worth is a really good market. Oklahoma, that's another state. Let's see, Midwest, like you have, I know a lot of people who wholesale in, go ahead.
Tennessee?
Tennessee's another great market. Yep. Tennessee's another good market as well too. It just depends, right? Like your price points and all that. I mean, there's some markets that you do want to stay away from, like in Chicago, you can't wholesale. You got to have a real estate license. Ohio, there's certain markets that you can't wholesale. Oklahoma, actually, never mind. Oklahoma just changed the law in December where you have to have a real estate license. So, but I would say, man, start in your own backyard before you consider like going out to, you know, another state. Because what I could tell you is virtual, that's what it is, virtual wholesaling. It's not sexy, man. It's really difficult, but it's doable. But, you know, obviously if you haven't started wholesaling in your backyard, I suggest that, you know, I tell everybody, like, that's probably where you should start.
What is the number one rule when conducting business? Your number one rule?
I would say integrity, man. You know what I mean? I think if you violate integrity, you know, it violates everything else. Everything else don't matter at the end of the day.
Got you.
Hopefully that answered that question.
No, yeah, for sure. Integrity is important in any situation.
Yeah.
Have you always had a knack for selling, or did that something that you had to kind of learn and grow into?
You know, I definitely had to learn and grow into it. I love the thing is that I had the passion for it. Like I wanted to learn it, right? I wanted to get better. You know, I knew that in order for me to get better, I had to invest in it. But I didn't grow up as far as like, hey, I'm a sales guy for the whole time. But I knew that because of what I wanted to do, the only way I would get better is I needed to invest in my sales skills. And that's like with everything, right? You have to, who are the best, who are the highest paid people, right? Who are they? The actors, athletes. You know, why? Because they're always practicing, they're always investing, they're always doing. And that's the same thing, right? If you want to, you know, be a good salesman, I don't think you're born as a good salesman. You might have some characteristics that might help. You know, maybe you're more introvert, things like that. But honestly, those things don't matter. Like I always tell people, like good people skills doesn't make you a good salesman. It just means that you can talk to someone to death. Right? You got to learn how to ask for the sale. You got to learn how to, you know, ask for the sale, keep the sales call going, like, you know, things like that. And those things are not natural skills. You got to learn them.
And my last question, what do you think is the biggest thing in sales that transitions over to real life?
Um, for me, it's communication, learning, you know, learning to understand the other side, right? We always say, you know, you heard the saying is do unto others as you want them to do unto you. But the thing is that do unto others as they want you to do unto them, because it's their world, right? And the only way you can understand that is by communicating and asking questions. And so I've learned that through my sales process. So now I translate over to, whoever I talk to, friends, families, right? Um, Now, they're both right, but at the end of the day, when you're talking, for me, when I'm talking to prospects, if I come in and I say, "Oh, I can pay X amount." "Oh, hey, Prince, I can get you this, I can get you that." And Prince is looking like, "I've never told you that I wanted that." So see what I'm saying? Even though I think it's in goodwill and it's a good intention, that's not what he's asking for. So that's what we have to, that translate. I've learned that lesson. Now it translates into understanding how to talk to my wife, how to talk to my son, how to talk to different individuals by listening, right? And understanding their world.
Mm.
Treat others the way that they want to be treated.
Exactly. Exactly.
Well, that is all the questions that I have for you. I thank you so much for taking the time. It means a lot. Thank you.
Sounds good. Thank you guys. Take care, gentlemen.